Luke Delmeyer. Luke Delmeyer Knives. Handcrafted, handmade knives. I use mine every time we go to the pop-ups, and it is ridiculous. It is just something special. There's something different. It's handcrafted. It's handmade. Luke has grown since we started the show to now, where he is pumping out knives and classes. I want to push his classes. If you go to lukedelmeyer.com, it has all the information for the classes, and you get to take a 2-day course, and you go over everything from safety on how to use it. You're selecting the knife handles out, and you're really from top to bottom getting to go through the whole experience. Where else can you find that in the Valley? Luke is a very special person to the show. He's really cool. We've done projects together. We have apparel we're doing together. I really want you to go check it out. If you're interested in handcrafted stuff, working class stuff, blue collar stuff, like this is the area you need to go to. But it's lukedelmeyer.com. Luke Delmeyer, handcrafted knives. Sign up for those classes, those courses. Go check that out. It's really cool. It's a 2-day event, and you get to experience making your own knife, and then you take your knife home with you. And you're going to take home a little bit more than that. So check out Luke Delmeyer, friend of the show. Always awesome watching him grow. lukedelmeyer.com. mindleafcbd.com. Mindleaf. Easton Zone, Mindleaf CBD. I didn't know a lot about CBD till they became a sponsor and they started coming on the show a lot. And Liz is huge for, I learn something every time she comes on. They are over in College Hill in Easton. You can check out all their information on mindleafcbd.com. I believe you can order there, but go experience the store. Liz's mom works over there. Liz keeps bringing in products such as the honey flights. They have peanut butter, the infused pretzels. My favorite thing is the tinctures to go to sleep. I have problems sleeping, and these things put me out, and I have a little bit of lucid dreams riding a unicorn, and then I wake up back to normal, and then I get excited to do that again. So my big thing I use with them is the tinctures and the balm. The balm is another one. I use it for aches and pains on my knees, and my old man uses it for his arthritis. Mindleaf CBD. They are over in Easton on College Hill. Please go check the store out. Really cool space, and like I said, Liz's mom's over there, and they will help you with everything. It's awesome that they're super local, and I stand behind their CBD and everything that they got coming out of there. That's Mindleaf CBD, mindleafcbd.com. Twice as fast that way.
Exactly.
All right, Never Again Radio episode. I have no clue what we're doing. Welcome back.
Hi.
Welcome back. I appreciate you traveling here in this hurricane.
And my new car.
Yeah. The last time you were on, you owned one store. We're talking about opening Jersey, and then now you have a shop in Nazareth, New Jersey, and you opened up a coffee plant shop in Easton. And I see your post where you're like, "Can I just go back to being a mom?"
I'm so tired.
You must be exhausted.
I am.
What do you want to get into first? You want to get into the Jersey shop? How did that come about?
Sure. Well, I was going to ask you if I could be honest on your podcast because it's kind of a funny story.
Be honest? Yeah. I first of all, I don't think there's a way that you're not honest.
It's like blunt.
Sometimes I see your social media posts and I'm like, oh, she's having a bad day.
Because you gotta let everybody know this stuff because people follow you on social media and then they want to compare their lives to yours and they're
Of course.
I want to be perfect too, and I'm like, no, I'm not perfect.
But I like that you put that out
I'm a
there.
mess.
I do that a lot with my social media, or when I do, I'm like, hey, this isn't fun at all.
No,
at all.
not.
If I had a high-paying,
do it.
if I had a high-paying 9 to 5, I would not be here. If I would have made it through high school, I
Right.
would not be here.
Right. So yeah, we were at my husband's cousin's house, who we tend to have a really good time with. He has some upstate New York cousins that one's a judge, and his wife and I really get along really well. And we were at her sister's house, and it was a day of drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're
Wine?
like, champagne.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's my champagne buddy. She's my champagne buddy. So we had a few bottles of champagne, and they convinced me to open near them.
Yeah.
So I was drunk, and I said, yeah, sure. And then my husband the next day took me to Clinton, and this is the town they were talking about.
Clinton's
I
awesome, though.
fell in love.
Yeah.
How can you not?
We went.
beautiful.
That was one of the first stops we went to on our bagel journey because Gina's from New Jersey and was like, "This is a bagel."
Yeah, Clinton Bagel.
Wildly different than what's around here.
Absolutely.
So when I went there the first time, I was like, "Man, this is a really cool town." There's
Yeah.
like all kinds of different stuff there.
Yeah, I joke around that everybody during COVID got a dog or got pregnant or bought plants.
Yeah.
People in Clinton all just bought dogs.
Yeah.
Like everybody in that town just walks their dogs all up and down the main street all day long.
Yeah. So it's a dog town.
It's very much a dog, but it's the most adorable town. The mayor is amazing. Like she's so active in all the downtown businesses. The whole city council's like young and youthful, and they're just so.
What's that like?
It's heaven.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah. Night and day, we'll say.
Yeah.
It's definitely night and day. I mean, just free ribbon cuttings. Oh, it's your year anniversary. Let's throw you a party. If I do a terrarium, build your own terrarium event, the mayor like buys tickets.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wait, I gotta change the mayor? How
And you have interest
like
in
you
what's
care
going
about
on.
this? And it's just awesome. All the downtown businesses get together like once a month, and the mayor buys us all dinner, and we hang out and just chat. It's just nice,
I would almost open a business there just for the getaway.
right?
It's like sounds like a nice comforting
It
family.
is. It really is. Like Fourchette, down the couple stores down, the two owners of that are just amazing, friends. The sub shop across the street, like they know we're from Pennsylvania, so if it snows, he shovels and he'll text me, "Oh, I shoveled for you. You don't have to come out."
Yeah.
Like
Super small town.
yeah, really supportive of each other, and just it's very warm and welcoming. We don't have to advertise. We do nothing. We just open the doors and the tourists come in.
What's the vibe down there? Is it the same as the Nazareth shop, or did you kind of model it after that?
No, I went different with it. I kind of went with more of like a boho 70s, more color scheme. I was watching an episode of Golden Girls,
Isn't it awesome when you pull stuff from that completely? Yeah, I do a lot of that.
and I was like, I want that living room to just be my shop.
Yeah.
And just ran with it. I just went to Lowe's and picked colors and mirrored it that way, and try to the stuff we sell there has to be a little more touristy too, just because those little small towns, people want to go into all the shops and not buy anything. So we try to have a more grab and go selection of things, less rare plants in there, just because the tourists will walk in and be like, "Why is this plant $500?" And I'm like, "Cause came from Indonesia." So
Yeah.
I ordered here. That's why.
Stop touching it.
Like, yeah, please
Please stop touching that plant.
get your child away. Yeah, or your dog. We've had a dog poop on some plants before in there because there's always dogs in there. We've
Yeah.
had dog fights in there. It's like,
Oh
it's
my
wild.
God, I want to go to this shop now. I haven't been over that way in a while. Well, we used to go there for testing bagels. But the shop looks awesome whenever I see it posted.
Yeah, we definitely kept it a different vibe. I'm not allowed to post about it on social media anymore. My employee Sierra said that I mess up the grid on Instagram because my posts aren't as nice. So she does all the posting.
Oh, yeah. No, sometimes people, when I do the invite to collabs, like I'll be like, hey, if you want to, just because I've had people not do it or do it and then undo it right away just
Why?
because of how the grid looks.
Oh, that's so weird. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Because I
I'd
don't,
leave it up.
I mean,
I don't
how
see
I
the
do
point in
my,
that.
how I do my stuff is always like, like I'm bringing you in to be a part of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But then I also get it from a business. But there's also like super like crazy like people who are like artistically are like, hey, it needs to be this way, and it almost get OCD with it.
That's
so I
hard.
see it from that. But then a lot of times people don't mind the way I do stuff, so it can go out. But it does get frustrating sometimes when you're like, hey, I'm trying to push
Yeah.
the podcast. You didn't accept it.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I get it when I was actually watching. I took a few of these marketing classes from that master class program.
How was it? I've always wanted to do those.
For $10, do
Yeah.
'em. You know what I mean? Like the one. So I won't lie. I took the Kris Jenner one because I figured if you can take your daughter with a sex tape and turn her into a billionaire,
Yeah.
I'm trying to hear what you have to say.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't care. I'm not even hating on it. Like, teach me the ways. And there was a few episodes on hers that I felt like I was like, all right, like, you're repeating yourself a lot. But I actually did learn like a lot about social media and how like this will be the pink time and all the posts kind of like go together and be a lot of pink stuff. Or so I get that.
It's like dropping like clothing and apparel.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I get it, but who has the time for that? I'm running a business. I'm making the food.
Yeah.
I'm watering the plants. I don't have the time to do all that. And we've already on Instagram grown so far from not being that anal about our grid that I'm just like, eh.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like you have somebody telling you that it should look a specific way, but then they're not in your shoes. So it's like, yeah, if you had money to hire a marketing team and then you were like, hey, that's the way I would like it because you guys understand that, and then you pay someone to do all that, is totally different than like I have alarms that I have to set because I try and like sometimes I try and post the podcast, like every Friday at 9 a.m. is when I post the podcast. I don't know if that does well doing that, but that's just when I do it. But I have to set an alarm because I have so much other shit going on.
Exactly.
But if I had someone and I could pay a team to do all this shit, sure, I'm sure those ideas work. Who has the time?
By the way, we're not asking anybody to
Oh,
reach out to us.
yeah. Thank you.
We need to put that plug in there right now because you're about to get 20
Yeah, unless you're
messages.
doing this shit for free.
Right? I could do that for you for $1,200 a month. No.
Yeah.
I mean, you're worth it. I just can't afford you.
Yeah. I also get weird sometimes where I do want to control all my stuff.
There's that too. Like I've had a lot of people offer, some people who are like, oh, I'm trying to just build my portfolio. And I'm like, I know, but like, especially with the coffee shop or even the plant shop, if we're getting deliveries daily, like, are you going to be able to post our new product?
Because you guys because I like the way that your stuff ends up working out is because you do have the deliveries coming in, so you have new content to post.
Exactly.
But unless you're in the store unloading the truck and like, but I like, you guys always find a way to do your stuff. Like when you first started using the back wall with like the pink neon, and then like you started finding your way of like posting that way, and then it naturally became just how you guys posted. But like that's what following the page is fun, because then it was like, I remember several potting plants that you guys had where the one was like, it had a mustache, and I had a mustache at the time, so I like hit up the account and was like, yo, do you have that? Set it aside. I'll be in 5 minutes. I want the mustache, man. So like, if you don't have somebody there doing that, I feel like you're missing a lot of what works for you guys.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they would do it. I mean, honestly, I just don't feel like it would be as... I like it to be authentic, or like, or us, where it's us.
Plus, it's also something for employees to do when it's not busy.
Exactly. And thankfully, my employees enjoy it because they're young. So
Yeah.
they're not bitter yet on social media, so they like it.
Yeah.
I'll give it 5 more years. You're going to hate it.
Yep. So then you went from 2 stores to 3.
Yeah.
Why did you want to tackle a 3rd store? Because it seems like the Nazareth location was working, and then New Jersey was working, and I get you're wanting to do a 3rd one, but they're not all in the same area.
Yeah, so I didn't technically want a 3rd one. I wanted to move the Nazareth shop.
Yeah.
It's just, it's so hard being a business owner in Nazareth. I'm trying not to make this one.
No, because it'll go to the conversations that aren't on camera.
Right,
And then
exactly.
it'll be, and then I'll get in trouble, and your husband will yell at you.
I know. There was an incident that happened in Nazareth. I don't know if it made the news, and it was just, we have such a following of customers that aren't from the town.
Yeah.
The locals don't really come out and support the downtown like they should. Like, shame on them, because you have great stores down here.
Yeah.
I talk to some of them sometimes, and they'll be like, oh, the parking tickets, we just don't want to come down.
First of all, the parking tickets in Nazareth are so cheap.
Psycho.
I just realized I have
$10.
to pay one for Easton that I have.
Like $45 probably.
15, but it's probably 45 now.
I know. Yeah, and that's just, they're aggressive with it, but it's also a quarter.
Yeah.
Like, for an hour. So I don't know. It's like a mixed bag for me. Like I get the need for them. I just wish the meter maid wasn't so aggressive.
Yeah.
Like I've caught them writing down times on little notes, and I'm like, "Do you get bonuses? Like what
Yeah.
what are you doing?"
There was a lady for a while that used to chalk the tires, which I've really only ever have seen in the city.
Yeah,
like Philadelphia.
We have 80 open
Yeah.
spots downtown,
And it's like you're chalking my tire, and then there's 9 cars waiting to get ice cream.
Yeah.
That are blocking the intersection at Emily's Ice Cream there.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, so I was looking to move it, and the goal always was to own a plant shop, coffee shop. I just wasn't allowed in the Nazareth space. So when we found the Easton location, I wanted the big spot, and I wanted to just go big with it.
Yeah.
And then I was going to close Nazareth, but the week that we said yes and our negotiations finally came to a head, I said yes to the big space. I ended up passing out that night and ended up in the hospital for a week of internal bleeding. And
Oh, yeah. I remember all that.
So my husband was like, I can't do this big space alone. We're going to go with the small space. And so we weren't
I didn't realize
able
you
to
guys were.
move.
That would have changed. Man, that would have probably been like a 70s conversation pit, and like you guys probably would have went. I mean, but that is also triple the size.
Yeah, and everybody thought I was crazy. And they all said, oh, you don't need, even like our coffee roaster, like I gave him the tour and he was like, oh, that's too big. Like it's too big.
I don't think it would have been too big. I think you could have done the space you have now, and then you could have had aisles of plants.
That was truly the
Which
goal.
would have been what you have at Nazareth, but with space. So you could have taken the Nazareth stock
Yeah.
and then put that over there. Plus, you would have had new stock and a coffee shop. And if you wanted to keep Jersey, you could have, or you could have let that store swallow, and you would have had all 3 in one space. So
And
I
that's
don't.
the goal.
One crazy person to another crazy person.
Right? You see where I was
don't
going.
think you were crazy.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's funny because even the project manager of the building now, like when he sees how busy it is, he's like, oh, I bet you really wish you have, like, because we get like crazy reviews. We'll get a 1-star review because we were too busy and there's not enough seats. They don't have enough seating. Well, yeah, I'm only allowed 20 seats per Easton. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Do you think do you see yourself swallowing that space and getting into that bigger space eventually?
I wanted to, but we have really awesome neighbors now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I know Easton is oddly giving them a hard time. So I'm hoping it works out for them because they're really great neighbors. I don't know if you know Mystery Box. They
They just got in there. They were on the podcast before. I've been going back and forth about having them get back in here, but sometimes it's just hard to communicate with people. I'm busy, and when there's a little communication from them, I'm like, oh, you guys are probably going through it because they set up a space and then lost it. And then now they're having to set up another space.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was your neighbors.
Yeah.
I just saw them post, or I just started seeing pictures of the new spot, so I didn't realize that was them.
My 8-year-old is obsessed with them.
Yeah.
Which we love them there because a lot less mom guilt with him being able to go over there and just have it out. He just has so much fun over there. But yeah, so they don't have their food yet, but they're open for the games and stuff.
So what are they planning to do? Like food-wise?
Like soups, salads, just like snacky things, so stuff you can eat while playing your games kind of idea. So yeah, so they cut it in half. So now it's 2 spaces over there. And the third, they're both small, like it's just, I wish they wouldn't have built that wall and cut it in half, the landlord, because I obviously needed that big space.
Yeah.
I always tell everybody, if you would have believed in me, we would be like perfectly fit. Now I don't have enough space, and now I have 3 stores, and I can't handle them all. But eventually, the goal is to have them all under one space.
Yeah.
That is the goal. I'm just trying to, for my sanity, just keep telling myself, when the time comes, it'll happen. I'll either find the right location by accident, or something will open up and I'll be able to bring them all over.
Yeah, because you're very similar to myself, where you have a bunch of different things going on, but you don't want to be tied up into just one singular thing. You like to be able to pivot and choose what puts you in the mood for your day. That's kind of how I look at it, where like I have apparel, I have food, and I have the podcast. So right now I've been like really on a super high. Like I did the podcast last night and I forgot what it does when it's over. And I'm just like, man. And then like I thought clear on the decisions I've been making with the restaurant, and like I've been putting too much energy into the restaurant and trying to like when you have 3 options to go different directions and you go in one direction and you start getting into roadblocks and terrible things happen and you start getting there, I really like being able to pull out and go in another direction where I don't have those things going on. And then if I have roadblocks, I can go in different directions. But then the goal is to bring them all together, which was what was going to happen. So like, and it still will, because we're both the type of people where you're sitting here talking where I'm eventually going to be having a conversation with you where you did get a bigger space because you were able to do everything all at once. And then, you know, because like, I wanted to have the podcast, because like when I open, the podcast studio has to be in the same vicinity or it's never going to work because I'm going to be too busy. Where, you know, spreading yourself out like that, like you're not, I mean, you would, but like you're not going to want to do it for your sanity to be spread that far out.
Exactly.
When you could be doing it all in one space.
Because it's hard. It's so hard to, I mean, you know, like it's, the Clinton shop, for instance, there was like 4 weeks I didn't get there straight. And I'm just like messaging the staff, like, okay, I ordered this is coming, these are the prices, and it's not the same. I have a great staff and they work really hard, but it's not the same as when you're there. You know? Like it's just not doing displays. I'm a creative person.
And it helps the morale of the employees because they're there because of you.
Exactly. So it's rough trying to navigate the 3. I think we kind of trying to come up with a game plan. Plus, I also want to rebrand the Curious Planaholic. I have plans for it.
That's awesome.
I have big plans. Our barista at Plants and Coffee hit the lottery with our head barista. She's amazing, but she went to school for interior design, and I always wanted to get into like decorating with plants, like doing weddings. Lehigh Valley style. Sometimes they'll have me come out and I'll do their events with plants and stuff.
But you talked to me when I was showing you the place that I'm not moving into. That
and I wanted to.
I remember when you were like, "Hey, like you're almost like consulting."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of like with having her on. She knows how to bill for those things. She knows how to, you know, she has all the websites or the programs on the computer to do it. And we've talked about it. She did the Hives front window. Her and Sierra did that together, and it came out beautiful. So we've been talking about going down that direction, but not now because I need all the businesses in one space. But, you know, it could be one of these programs where like you want a jungle in your home, but you don't know how to create it. You call us and we'll create it for you.
I love the direction you're going with that. Because like now I can like, it's probably how people look at me until you start explaining what you're trying to do. But like, with you explaining the bigger space and putting everything all in one, the things that you're doing now are just things that are going to add to the store. But then if you did the thing that you're talking about in the back, you essentially would just need offices.
Yep.
So if you had a big enough space where you know, all right, well, this is so big. Well, is it too big? Because I can put 4 offices over here. And then now I have people doing online stuff. Plus you have the stores running by itself, and then you're just in one spot, and that could blow it up even further. It would be crazy not to do it because of how much you get pushed when you do anything. Like you have so much love and support from like your following and people, and I believe it's because of how you carry yourself and how you treat people, and like people put you up, and like I love that. Where you're like, "Good morning, America's coming in," and I'm like, "What?" And then like it's just the stuff that happens to you. So to put it on a bigger, like, you should have confidence in doing that idea. Everything you've done has popped so hard where like, why wouldn't you make it easier on you?
Exactly. I don't know. I'm a self-doubter. I'm a huge...
Yeah, I can't relate to that at all.
Right. It's like I'm such an anxiety-driven person where I think the Clinton shop didn't make me nervous as much because the Curious Planaholic did have a great following. So I wasn't so nervous, and the tourist area, so I just wasn't nervous about that. But for some reason, the coffee shop, I was like, for like a week straight before we opened, I was like in bed at night, like rocking myself.
But it's a whole nother monster.
Yeah.
It's like food is insane.
Right.
I hate it, and it's my favorite thing to do.
Oh, and you know, it's one of those things too where like I mean, I think you're a creative person and I'm a creative person. So like the great thing about food is like it's another way to
It's
create.
endless. It's endless. It's why I do it.
Yep. And but there are some people out there you can't please.
No.
You
Well,
just
you run
can't.
you run into a lot of problems with customer service. You run into a lot of problem with allergy people. You run into a lot of problems, but like what I get out of creating food and the way I do it and the looks on the people's faces, like I love like one of my favorite things that happens, and Gina always pointed out, is somebody comes up and they're like, "What's the burger?" And then like Gina's got it down by now, so and it's only a couple ingredients. And they're like, "All right, well, do you have ketchup?" And I'm like, I immediately stopped them. I'm like, this was built to eat it the way it's supposed to be eaten.
Yeah.
If you want to, like, I learned how to eat food that way. And then once I started doing that, I started enjoying going out to eat more, because you're looking at it as, this is how they want you to eat it, because that's how they want you. Like, that'd be like as if I came in and got a plant and I was like, I don't like the amount of leaves on this, and I cut half of them off. And you're like, what are you doing? This is the way the plant's supposed to look. You weren't supposed to let it die.
I get so mad.
So like, so then the person will buy the burger, and then they come back, and you can always tell because they have a specific look on their face, and they'll come up and Gina will be like, "So what would you like?" And then they go, "Another burger." So it's like, I love that interaction. And that always gives me more confidence, because I do have people that are like, "Well, do you like, I don't want to, like, I will, like, if somebody's like, hey, I don't want a pickle on it."
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll make it without the pickle. But like, I haven't brought everything that you could possibly have in your fridge to make you this food. And also, we didn't build this kitchen in a parking lot to give you the experience of a concession stand.
Exactly.
So like when I had room in the van, when we didn't know what we were doing, I used to bring that fake palm tree, because I play music the whole time, but like that's my vibe. Like if it would ever go to a point where we were doing like food trucks and we got into bigger venues and started doing catering and parties and like didn't open up brick and mortar, which is also completely on the table, like I would get high tops and create an atmosphere and get bartenders, and like you would hire us to come out and create an experience in your space that doesn't have
That would be
anything like that. So like that's what I always like doing with stuff, but I like just being like, nah, this is how the food is.
right. You're extra.
Like it's just like, just make it that way. Like just eat it.
Just eat it. Just try it.
Like,
Take a bite first.
Or if someone's like, I don't want onions, and I'm like, it's 0.5 ounces. You can't even see them. It's like, but I'm like, I don't like onions, but I like them in that burger in that fashion. So it's like the anxiety stuff I still get, like going to a pop-up and being like, I don't know if we're going to sell all this. I don't know if people are going to like the food.
Yeah.
It's way different than retail. Then you
yeah.
combined both. To transition into that, what was it like for you to build a menu? And I want to get into, and we should do another one and bring, I forget his name, from the Yuri, who helped design everything.
Yeah.
So like, what was that like to team up with one of your best friends and start kind of creating this menu or getting into ideas of what you're even going to sell there? Because that's so foreign to anything you've done before.
For me, it was more. It was a blast. I got to watch we've been best friends. We've been friends since we're 4. Like
Yeah.
5, 4. Like he was 4. I'm a little bit older than him. But so we've been friends our whole lives, and he's cooked his whole life. Like we were joking the other day. I was like, I think the first time I ever had French onion soup was in his kitchen. And like we were trying to make it out of like the Lipton like soup container thing that's supposed to be like a dip, and we're like, oh, just throw some water and we got French onion soup. But we're like 9 trying to like make French onions. Like who does that at 9?
Yeah.
You want Campbell's or like. So he's always been such a true foodie and just an artist himself. So it was really fun because I just will come up with random ideas. So like one thing that I do, and I hate, like, I don't know if there's still a stigma around it, is I smoke weed. I have Crohn's and anxiety. So I microdose. And sometimes at night, go a little overboard on the microdosing so I could fall asleep.
Yeah.
And when you get right to that right amount of stoner high, you'll be like, man, I love buffalo chicken dip.
Yep.
We should throw that shit on a bagel. And then I'll just like text Yuri and he'll be like, that's fucking brilliant. Let's make that. And I'm like, well, I can't put the layers together like he can, or like how your burger has like all those different layers to it. Like Yuri will be like, I need the crunch. I need, the different textures. I need the different flavors. Like if you eat their sushi, you literally will get so many different flavors as you're chewing the piece of sushi. And he tries to bring that into the bagels. And I think he nails it. I mean, people go nuts. The pizza bagel, we sell about 400 a week.
That's crazy.
Like, it's crazy. Like It's why we just launched a white pizza bagel. We're gonna probably go further with it too and have like toppings and
Yeah.
because it seems like our busy time is lunch. So why not go hard on that then? Because I can't get there. A lot of people are like, get here at 8 a.m. I'm like, I'm a mom. I have to get my kid on the bus. Like, I
Yeah.
can't do that. But yeah, it's just really fun. So we're just thinking of all of our favorite foods and we're just trying to somehow make it at a bagel.
What was it like to get into the coffee world?
That was scary because I always, for some reason, thought coffee shop owners were snobs. They're so not. They're the nicest people
Yeah.
ever. By the way, they're the nicest people ever. I mean, talk about a welcoming community of people. I mean, just so helpful, so supportive. Matt from Lit, he roasts for us, his company's
Yeah.
Malacasy. He's awesome. He pretty much taught us everything we know. Helped us get all of our equipment. Three Birds in Easton, they're down the road from us. And
They have one of the coolest
so supportive.
coffee shops I've ever been in.
Oh my God, the birds! I have to get my son there because he's obsessed with birds. I mean, the Victorian home, it's stunning.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
They're a great couple, super nice. They've come out and supported us. And if I'm having a hard time, they'll message me and be like, hey, you got this. So it's the first 6 months is the worst. And I'm like, the first month I wanted to close. This was awful.
Yeah, Easton, I feel like, has that community vibe,
It
like that
does.
Jersey feel that
It
you
really
have over at
does.
Clinton.
Yeah, it's really, again, the GEDP is so wonderful. They were so helpful and helping us get everything up and going. I didn't have the money to open it, so that was scary. I was just in that fight or flight mode. I wanted to get out of Nazareth so bad. I was like, I'm doing it without money. I don't care. I'll
Yeah.
put everything on credit cards if I have to. But they were so helpful with the support. They showed us something with, oh, you have employees and you're paying this in taxes. You're doing your taxes wrong and you can get money back. And I'm like, I just paid the IRS. What are you talking about? And just so informative and helpful. Even the local businesses, they all come out all the time and they're supportive. And it's just like a lovely little community.
Do you get a lot from the school being right by you?
Yeah. All
Teachers
the
coming
teachers.
over and stuff?
Yeah. They
Yeah.
all come over. There's a West Ward Farmers Market. That's actually at night and it's pretty lit. It's really a good time.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know any of that stuff goes on.
They have music and really fun and good vendors. It's just really, it's so different than the downtown Easton Farmers Market. But a lot of their
Where do they
vendors
host
support
it?
us. Right in the school, right in the alleyway or where the school is. They shut that street down and for 3 hours they just have it's like a little festival almost, it looks like.
I don't go to that side of town often.
It's up
And then there's I believe it is. I the tattoo shop that's down there, I can't think of it. But Eli, who owns it, he's been on the podcast and then he just hit me up about doing a Friday the 13th event there. So that was kind of the first time I was over that way. And then Brooklyn Barbershop's over by there and then you guys are up from that. But it's a part of Easton that people drive through, but then there's all these businesses there. And then once I kind of started stopping at a couple of them, I was like, oh, this is a cool area. And then when I got over to the shop, or I forget if we saw it before you were opening it, but I was like, man, this is a solid area. You have parking out front, and it's not
Free.
Yeah.
And CVS allows us to use their parking lot too. We went in and we asked and they're like, oh God, yeah, everybody uses it. And we're like, all right.
They're like, you're the only one who's asked.
Pretty much is what they insinuated. They were like, oh, thanks for asking. And I was like, well, you got a large parking lot. I didn't know if it was a thing. And
Yeah.
they were really nice about it. The gas station across the street, they were always so nice to us. Everybody in the area. The church across the street closes on a Sunday and they come over hordes.
Yeah.
So that's terrifying when we see that because we're
That
the
church
three of
crowd.
us and
Yeah.
we're like, here it comes. We got this, guys. Buckle down and we'll just, get ready for it.
Yeah, that's how it is over at Sal's, Giacomo's when the college kids come in because they don't call ahead and they come in with 9.
You're like,
And they're just they're like, all right. But the people up front do an awesome job. So Tammy will take all because before it's if they don't order together, then it's just all these tickets. So now it's they just take the order. all like she's such a mom, and like I always tell her she's like the dad mother because she'll just do mom type stuff, but like she'll wrangle them all and be like, yeah, you're going on one ticket.
Yeah, like this is too much.
But that's another thing when the people come through the door, like it's so much anxiety. Even the amount of time I've spent in kitchens, it's still overwhelming to see a shitload of people. There'll be times when I'll just look at the guys next to me and I'll be like, time travel.
Yeah.
See you at 3. And then it's just boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
Tickets busy, busy, busy. And you look up and 2 hours went by.
Oh, that's.
But I like the release from that. Like it gets addicting to like get through the pressure and get through the tickets. And then, like I always loved that. Like the camaraderie of everybody talking after a busy day and you lock the door and you're like, what the fuck was that?
Just happened.
You can't believe that person asked to this and that. And like, I don't know. There's just that like clubhouse vibe, like when the whole thing's over.
Oh yeah. We definitely have our therapy sessions at the end of the day.
Yeah, you
with
need
each
to.
other.
Because I feel like if you leave and go somewhere, no one can relate to what you went through.
No, people are so abusive to food. Like,
Oh my God.
Never
I feel like you should have to,
experienced
it should be mandatory to like work food.
Oh God, you shouldn't be allowed to order takeout unless you've worked behind that, because they're wild. I had one lady, and then they go to Google. First of all, they're assholes to you in the store, and you gotta be polite to them. You can't be like, "Fuck you, dude. You're being a dick." Like you want to say it, but you can't. And if you don't give in to their demands, then they go on Google and they're like, "Oh, I ate their food. It was terrible."
Yep.
And it's like, no, that's not actually what happened. Like I had one lady. We have order here, pick up here. And the line was out the door and it was down the street. And I at one point thought, should I go outside and just be like, hey, we need a cutoff point here. Like, we can't handle this. And it was a Sunday. And we had another line of people waiting for the food. And she checks out, walks over to the takeout where the orders come out. And she's like, oh, this is mine. There's 40 people waiting for their food in front of you. There's no way in hell I made your lox bagel that fast. So I'm like,
I just got anxiety thinking about that because I know what that's like to be in that situation. It's terrible. It's terrible.
And you can see
it's just stress and pressure, and then there's no way you can relieve it on anybody, and you just have to get through tickets.
You just have to get through it. And she bit my head off. Oh, it's mine. She took it, walked away. Comes back later, 20 minutes later, and tosses it at me. Which one of these bagels is my lox bagel? None of them. And she's like, what do you mean none of them? I'm like, I told you it wasn't your food. Well, I'm number 72. And I'm like, and I'm on number 69. Like, well, give me a chance. I have to make your bagels. And I didn't charge her for basically stealing this poor man's food.
Yeah, then you got to give him free food.
Yeah.
And then they write a shitty review.
Yeah. And she goes on, bagels were stale. Line was long. And I'm just like, oh, dude, you were. And but it's almost like you sit there behind the Google review and you want to reply and be like, nah, you were a dick. Please don't come back. Like, and it's like, but you can't.
It's also crazy that they allow people to say whatever they want about your restaurant.
Especially when it's untrue. I had one lady leave me a review. It was wild. I was actually on vacation. We had our vacation planned for a year and I wanted to close the shop because I was like, there's no way we're going to enjoy vacation. Like, and then the staff was like, well, we need to get paid, so we need to stay open. So we went to like a basic like menu.
I think I remember you posted.
Trying to keep it easy for the staff and all. And I had one lady give us a review saying, I was in the shop talking bad about people with disabilities. I don't work. Mind you, if I could find that woman, I would have probably like unleashed awful words on her, because that was by the time we went on vacation, that was month 4 of me not going with any day off. Like I was literally working straight through. I didn't take any time off. And I was just like so offended by this review. She's in there talking about how she didn't like people with disabilities. And I'm just like, I'm not even there. So I'm messaging the staff. I'm like, is anybody making fun of people with disabilities?
You're like, guys, can we reel it in?
Like, what's going
I left
on?
for 1 minute.
Yeah, like, what the hell?
Who are you people?
And they tell me, no. We had one lady yell at us because she wanted, one of the specialty bagels and we didn't have the stuff. She was, and one employee was like, we were like talking about some other stuff, but nothing like that. And I was like, okay, well then she's just crazy. And then one of my employees from the from the plant shop was like, I know her personally. She's a whack job. And I was like, well, I don't know. I'm not in the shop, but she's saying I'm there talking about it. And meanwhile, I have a son with autism who is 22 and still lives with me. Like, you know what I mean? He'll probably live with me forever. My husband's deaf. I work with Northampton Area High School with the super seniors, and they volunteer in my shop. 3 disabled children volunteer in the shop to get work experience. So I was just like, who are these people? Why are you allowed to say that
it's
on
crazy.
Google? And it's so far from who I am as a person, and it's like such a weird personal attack on me, and I don't know you.
And you weren't there.
And I wasn't there. But it's on Google. You can read it. Like,
Yeah. And then I think you have to like protest or you have to like contact
Google
them.
does nothing.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
calling you out, Google. You do nothing for it.
Yeah.
With your stupid small business posts all the time on Facebook. I'm like, you don't support small businesses.
Not at all.
Get rid of the review system. It's just for, like, I would love feedback. I'm new at it. Give me feedback, please. If I'm messing up, I can't fix it if I don't know we're messing up. But how about you tell me when you're in the shop?
There's a friend of mine who runs an app called Ate It. And he started, I believe, in New York City, and he's trying to grow it. And you can only leave a positive review, and it can only be 8 words or less. And that's
awesome.
it. And it's like if you have nothing nice to say, you just don't go there.
It's just why that's me. I've always been that way. Have I had some horrible experiences at restaurants before? Of course I have. We just I got the new car yesterday, and coming home 9 o'clock, I was like, oh, it's only McDonald's we can go to. We waited 45 minutes for our food in this McDonald's, and I got the wrong food.
Yeah.
I didn't go on Google or go
No.
on, it's McDonald's, whatever, you just.
We did a pop-up
Don't go.
in Jim Thorpe, and we wanted to get coffee on the ride home, and the coffee shops that are like coffee shops were slammed, and there's tourists everywhere. So, me and Gina were like, I'm not waiting. Like, we just want to drink coffee on the ride home. It's either beer or coffee. I was like, I'll drink my beer later.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's just get a coffee. We always reward ourselves with something. Like when we're up at the woods, they just added a ice cream parlor there. So it's like a shed, and you can get ice cream, and then they do milkshakes and stuff. So after the pop-up, we pull up to the thing, and they buy food off of us. So it's cool.
Yeah.
So we get ice cream for the ride home. So I'm like, all right. There is a Dunkin' Donuts on the way out. And I don't go to Dunkin' Donuts that much anymore because what Dunkin' Donuts used to be and what it turned into is just a shit show.
Yeah.
Like, the Dunkin' Donuts that's closest to here, and I won't trash it because I'm just trying not to trash town on my way out of it, is one of the worst experiences I've ever had at getting coffee. So, like, I was like, all right, we'll go to here. There was probably 8 people in there. You know how busy that is for 8 people. There was not a line out the door. So we order the drinks. I pay for them. The lady was super nice. We're joking around. We get up there, and immediately people just start getting the wrong coffee. So somebody in the back is just making the coffee wrong. So then we waited probably 20 minutes.
No.
For a Dunkin' Donuts to wait that long,
Yeah, I've been
and
loud. I
it's a full staff. So all I'm thinking is like, I just want my fucking coffee. So one comes out, it's wrong. It's what Gina ordered, but the wrong size. So regardless, we're like, okay, well, she'll drink this if mine comes out. So then hers comes out. So they just made 2 of Gina's coffee after I paid for like a specialty stupid roaster or whatever dumb thing because I couldn't read the menu. So I picked your
You were a
fucking
pumpkin
ice
spice
cream.
guy.
Yeah, it was it was like a pumpkin. It was pumpkin because they brought pumpkin back, but then it was like it was nutty. So like
Ooh.
it was just I wanted to say the dumb. Like, because to me it was worth getting the bad coffee because I was like, hey, what's the nutty pumpkin? And then like she's like, and then I'm like, do people order this just to say nutty pumpkin? And then like she kind of started getting my humor and she laughed a little bit. And then I just ordered the stupid drink. It doesn't come. I look at the guy who I know is making all the drinks wrong, and he's like, what's up? And I go, this isn't my coffee. And he's like, well, what were you supposed to get? And I was like, da 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 da. I got 2 of these. And he just didn't respond and went on to the next order. So at that time, I was like, all right, I don't fucking care. I'm taking these 2 coffees, and I just left. And then the people behind me got the wrong shit, and they just left. Not once did I have the time, nor did I give a fuck enough to blast a fucking Dunkin' Donuts in Jim Thorpe.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, cool, like we just won't go here again, which I know we will. And I'm like, it is what it is. And I drank the fucking coffee that they gave me.
Exactly.
I don't have time to sit down because I would have had to have either done it in the parking lot or like that's the insane shit where you think about the person went home, sat down,
Yeah.
and then wrote the shitty review.
I pissed you off that bad. with not putting. I don't know what we could have done to make you that mad to make
Yeah.
you go and do some of the stuff. I mean, I will say 95% of them are all good reviews.
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
So I
Is
should
like
say it's
the
not all
bad,
bad
the bad
reviews. It's like
definitely
4 of them,
happens once in a while. But like
Yeah.
the good shit, like where the people come back
Yeah.
and they want another burger. I remember one time like a bunch of young kids came up with their mom and they're like, "Yo, can you do a triple burger?" And I'm like, "Yo, let's go." So like stuff like that where you have a good time and like that always outweighs it.
Yeah.
And then the negative stuff. What's it been for you to transition into food now? Because it's like you had your experience and you're still selling plants there because it's not just a coffee shop. Now you've
Exactly.
combined coffee into your original idea and now you're selling food, which is becoming popular, and it's like this thing growing. What's that like to manage that and to run it, because that's got to be completely different than the other stores?
It's a very big learning curve, like huge. So obviously getting all our Serve Safe certifications, that was helpful because we had to have them, but taking the class, I obviously learned a lot. Like I wouldn't have known half of like storage for the food or any
Yeah.
of that. I probably would have wasted so much food if I hadn't taken that class alone, just because the storage of it alone. I've struggled with baked goods because I'm not a baked goods person myself. Like I'm a horrible junk food eater,
Yeah.
but not like croissants.
How do you not
and
just eat all of
muffins.
Modern Crumb stuff?
It's rough. It's
Every time I go to
rough.
pick up hamburgers, I'm like,
It's
cookie
rough.
drive by, and if they
Yeah.
have chocolate chip cookies, I'm like, I'll take what's left.
And especially like, oh my gosh, she's always like, do you guys need more cookies? I'm like, well, yeah, because I ate 4.
Yep.
My kid ate 2, and the staff all ate some. So I always feel bad when I have to tell her we need more cookies. But it's one of those things where I just rely on her a lot. Like I just ask
Yeah.
a lot of questions.
It's smart though, because you have another local business in Easton that is popular, and she's awesome to work with,
Yeah.
and then she can handle things that like you guys aren't making cookies.
Exactly. And I'm not a baker. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I love cooking. Like I do love cooking. I've always been a big cook. Like when I cook for my kids, I make homemade pasta. Like I don't make pasta from the box, I'm flour on the table,
Yeah.
cracking the eggs, and we make my own homemade sauce. Everything's homemade and good at home. But then when I go out, you take me to a good gas station. I will eat
Yeah,
all the
those
fried
roller
chicken
hot
right out of
dogs.
the yes. And I don't care how long they've been on there.
No.
They're good. Like
Yeah.
give me like 2 a.m. sheets. Like hell yeah. Like I'm here for it. So I think I'm a good mix of a foodie where I can find food anywhere.
Yeah.
So it was really just more of learning, like how not to waste. I also had to-
Utilizing things for other things.
yeah, that trying when creating the menu, trying to make sure like if I'm doing a new specialty bagel, well, what can I pull from this one because we
Yeah.
already have the ingredients for that. Stuff like that. I'm starting to kind of get the hang of, and okay, if I'm going to launch a new bagel, I need to figure out how are we going to store the stuff for the bagel. It's like a whole process.
Yeah. I feel like it works for how your brain works though.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you obviously envision things and you put things together, and with like food like that, like once like what you're saying is like you kind of understand how it works. The possibilities on creating are super endless because you can go anywhere and you can do anything because there's so many different foods where you can do vegetarian, you could go over here and do Italian, and then when you're talking about like I remember when the burger first was made, I used smoked cheddar cheese, which cost me more, and I used bacon, which cost me way more. And then I dialed it down to Cooper cheese because it was more accessible and I have a slicer. And then I got rid of the bacon and no one said anything. And I was saving hundreds of dollars every time I did the pop-up because I was having to buy, like if I was doing 150 burgers, 2 pieces of bacon on that, you know how expensive
Yeah.
it is to buy bacon. And then I would have to cook it all off. So like when you start finding those pockets of like, oh, all right, well, I can make the bagel this way. Okay, well, then I could also use the cucumbers from the bagel for the salad. And then you start creating like 3 different things around a couple of different items you have. And then now you're not wasting anything. And then you're saving all the stuff. Like when I got the burger down, it's now down to a couple ingredients. And I'm like, man, I'm saving so much money.
Yeah.
Everyone likes it so
And
much
time.
better. And then now it's like, if I do a lot of stuff, I just use Cooper cheese because that's what I'm using for that. And I get the feedback from that. Or like the mayo, like that mayo, that hits so hard and people like it so much. Now when I make
Love your mayo.
so like when I do the Cuban, I'll use that mayo as my base. So it's like, and then I'm using that mayo a lot for bases when I make other things. And like most of the time, I don't think people notice. But like when I do the Cuban, it's like I add some other things into that. But I'm utilizing what I already have because I have to buy big things of mayonnaise and big things of other things that go in it. So it's like when you use that and then you start creating, I think that's when like, that's probably my favorite thing, like when you just understand it and then you can just sit there and be like, all right, cool, I can do this. I can use all those things. That's my special for the week. We're going to do this. And it's a real tackling feel to put something like that together. Yeah. And it's got to feel good for you to be able to like do that with the plants, which you obviously already have that a black belt in that, but then to do that and then to turn around and then to do the food and the kitchen and the coffee and all that stuff and then wrap it all together, you got to have moments where you know that that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah. That's yep. You nailed it. It's I'm hardly ever speechless. I'm like, you literally said what I would say.
I relate to crazy people.
Right. We're here. I'm like, no, that's perfect. And I will say, like, even in the hiring process, I would only like interview other people who were openly interested in creating things.
Yeah.
Like our barista, the head barista, Megan, who makes the drink menu, like she was a bartender.
Yeah.
And
that helps so much.
Oh, so much. Like some of the drinks are wild, like that she comes up with. And it's so different and unique to like what other coffee shops are doing. And
then for social media purposes, that pulls so many people in when they see what they're doing there.
Yeah. So it's really fun too. And I've noticed with food is you can't only just make something that tastes good. It has to also be visual. Like you have to, it has to be good looking. Like I've seen other bagels where I'm like.
Well, a lot of people will just take a bagel and then just put stuff on top of it. Like when we started messing around,
drizzle that a little nicer. What's going on? Yeah,
like a big thing that we try to do with making the bagels and what we stick to, which is very difficult to do, is to incorporate the ingredients inside of it. So a lot of times when you go to a bagel shops and somebody's like, hey, it's a pineapple bagel, and they're just putting pineapple and cream cheese and then putting pineapple cream cheese on a bagel, or like, you know, like tomato, and they do another one where it's Asiago and they're just melting the cheese.
Yeah,
we really like wanted to infuse a lot of stuff in, but then when you get into the baking process, there's a reason why people don't, because of the rising and like it gets weird. And then even when we did the pineapple bagel for the last pop-up we did, like you have rising issues because you're adding things into it. So like, but we work through a lot of that. And if it doesn't work out, then we'll go to a way that isn't really what we want to do. But like we wanted to do that from the beginning. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of places that will just slap shit on a bagel and call it a day and then be like, hey, we have this going on now. And it's like, well, do you? You're just putting shit on top of a plain bagel. Like, but then there's some places that are wildly successful like that. I've been into so many bagel shops where there's bagel shops where people are just microwaving eggs. So it's like, sometimes I look at stuff like that and I'm like, well, I wouldn't do that way. But then there's people who buy breakfast sandwiches all day long.
Yeah, and people are buying it. Maybe they don't know it's made that way.
I don't know. There's just microwaves on a wall. So it's tough.
It's like, boop,
but
done.
I don't know. It's just different. It's the way people want to do stuff. Like you're getting.
It's also learning how to compromise. I'm stubborn sometimes.
I am with ideas as well.
Like it gets hard. Like so then you probably struggle with this too. Like you said with the pineapple bagel, and you're like, oh, we'll find a different way to do it. Sometimes I'll get something in my head, and I'm like, no, I want it to look like this, and I want it to taste like this, and I have to like compromise a little because it won't work out the way I want it to.
Yeah, I mean, that happens a lot with a lot of stuff that we want to do.
And that was defeating at first because I had to really get used to that. I also had to get used to like being able to tell somebody at 4:00, no, we're out of blueberry bagels.
Yeah.
Because that was hard. Like we were selling, like we were throwing away too much, or like I was trying to find people to donate them to. Because, like, you know, after one day, like, you know what I mean? It's just like, they're not fresh anymore. They're not being stored properly, or we have too many. So I was really wasting some. So it was just more or less me having to get comfortable saying, no, I'm sorry, we are all out of those bagels. Also, it's 4:00 in the afternoon. I think we're allowed to be out of bagels at 4:00.
Yeah. I mean, like some of the bigger places, they're making way more volume, and they've been doing it for 20 years, so they know what their numbers are.
Exactly.
I mean, doing pop-ups, it's very difficult to figure out. I mean, we did 3 pop-ups in a row. We hit the number straight, and then the last one we did, we missed the mark completely, and it was like, fuck. But it's
Yeah.
like sometimes it's just the way things kind of land. That's why I find it remarkable that you do all this stuff and then added the headache of owning a restaurant on top of it. It's crazy.
I also didn't know. Nobody warned me and was like, you're going to hate a gift. It was so funny because it is night and day from the plant shops. Because,
Yeah.
you know, it's plant people. They're not mean. They're not picky. They're just, they want to talk about their plants. They come in. We built friendships over the years.
They're
with
there for
customers.
plants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all good vibes, happy vibes. And so I wasn't really ready for all that came with the restaurant mentally. 'Cause
That's tough.
yeah, it really is. And I think people don't realize that the people behind the counter are humans and they're, you know, we're not a big corporation and maybe they think we are. I don't know. But just the way they treat or talk to us sometimes it's just wild to me. And it's like the first month I looked at my husband and I was like, I don't think I want to do this. And he's like, well, you're in trouble. 'Cause
Yeah, it
You
gets
just-
defeating.
yeah.
It gets defeating.
It really was. And I think it was, you know, people not understanding. Listen, good food takes time. The vibe that we were trying to create was, you know, first of all, it's a plant shop. I'm a comfort person, so I wanted all the comforts that I like to enjoy, and I wanted to share that with everybody. So you're sitting around plants. I have blankets out for you. I have, you know, pillows and comforting things, and your tables have playing cards. You know, I'm trying to kind of create more of an unplugged atmosphere. Don't sit on your phones the whole time you're here. Talk to the person across from you. That kind of vibe was kind of what I was going for, and it's more like now, you know,
Yeah.
like, and it just wasn't what I originally was going for. So
And the place is small. There's only so much you can do
yeah, so it's
out of it, the
pivoting.
space. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just learning how to make things faster, understanding that no, you're going to give people, and I don't mind people pulling up with their laptops. By all means, we have plugs put in everywhere. For that reason, it was just more like I just didn't think it would be. I thought somebody would park, you know, with their laptop and maybe stay for an hour. Instead, it's just more like high turnover, like high
Get
turnover.
in, get out, get in, get
Yeah.
out, get in, get out.
And it's not
Do you
that-
have people that kind of hang there?
During the week, we do.
Yeah.
During the week, we'll get like, especially now at college back in, we'll get the college
Yeah.
students in and they'll come and hang out for a while, which is when it's like that, like the staff and I are all just like,
Yeah.
look at them. They're all chilling and they have their drinks and they're cozy and
Yeah.
it's great. So, and then we do have our regulars that come in that are really awesome. The people from the neighborhood are just dope.
I'm sure they love that you're there.
They're great. Yeah, they're so appreciative too. They're like, "Oh, we needed this in the area." And I'm like, I'm glad to hear because you know, as you know, some of the Nazareth natives don't like me. So when WFMZ posted that we were opening in the West Ward and East End, there were a few people who commented literally wishing and hoping I get raped.
All right.
They're like, oh, that's a bad neighborhood. She's getting stabbed, raped, and murdered and robbed. And then the one person, like, it was literally like they were hoping for it. And I was like, oh, thanks for the well wishes. Like, that's just what I comment and say, like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want
Kill
me
them
to
with
say?
kindness.
Yeah, like, I don't, they don't, and, you know, to be fair, I'm not a horrible person for anybody who hears this. They don't like me because I employ gay people.
I think a lot of people have issues with you because you're open, you're honest. You let people know about the things that are connected to you, and if it's something that they don't agree with, then automatically they have a problem with you, which I think is crazy because I don't think you judge anybody, and I don't think you have problems with a lot of people. I think people have problems with you, but it's just because you're openly. But you've always been an open person since the moment I met you. Like, we connected because I'm the same way where it's like, if someone's like, hey, you know, like, how did all that start? And like, I don't hide anything. I'm like, well, I quit drinking, was dating a heroin addict. I lived above a bar, yada, yada, yada. It's like, I always keep that part in when people are always just like, oh, like, you know, it's always, but it's a part of my life.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I feel like you do the same where you're like, hey, this is me. I'm unapologetic about it. And if you don't like that, that's great, but at the same time, I'm always going to be me. And there's also all these people who maybe can't be themselves, so I'm giving them an opportunity to be themselves through me. And if you don't like that, you can fuck off. And I think sometimes people don't like that because they either don't know how to do that for other people, or they're just super small-minded, small-town bullshit. And I feel like you're going to be above all that at some point anyways.
Yeah, I mean, for years I tried to rise above it, for the longest time. The letters we'd receive, or just the comments we'd have from some of the drunk guys at the bar when they walk past, and, oh, I see you have more monkeys in your jungle. And I'm like, oh, thank God that customer didn't hear you say that. Like, keep walking.
Yeah.
So it's like all those little digs and stuff that I would get. And eventually, like, I always reference poking the bear. Like, I'll try my hardest to take the high road for the longest time. But if you keep poking the bear, eventually the bear is going to poke back. And,
Which I think people are surprised when you do.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because they're given several opportunities to stop acting a specific way towards you. And then when you act the way they are back at them, it's always like, oh man, what's with her? What's her problem?
Yeah, exactly. So I just don't tolerate it anymore. I just kind of keep my blinders on, stay to myself. I don't get involved in anything anymore. I just learned, if you stay focused on your business and what you're doing, as long as I'm bringing the customers in, as long as we're making the money, I can only focus on what we're doing. I can't focus on all the negativity because it also weighs on you, like, how lovely it is to see your picture on the WFMZ and to see, like, okay, the 20 articles before that got 15 likes. Yours got 875 and 200 comments, but yet there's still these comments and they're wishing harm on me, you know? Like, it's bizarre. It's so, like, it's sad to see. And, what I really want to say to them on the social media is come and try. I don't know.
What's also terrible about it is that most of those people wouldn't say that to your face.
No.
And they probably have been in your shop and have drank coffee and left and supported you, and maybe they changed their mind about you. But then why is it okay to completely... I remember at one point somebody got into me, and it's when I stopped paying attention to it, is somebody was giving me shit for the hashtag never again because it was tied directly to the Holocaust. And I was like, hey, it's also directly tagged to school shootings. And I was like, these are things that are around a prime. I wrote this big thing out, and I was like, look, this came from a very negative point in my life. And what's funny is the guy had a following and was like connected to bigger people. And I was like, I can't believe this dude even stopped in his day to like look for this hashtag and then completely come at me.
Out of all the 40 hashtags you probably have on there.
But then I was like, you searched this out, and then I wrote out this big thing about how I felt about it, because there are things that are connected to it, but it was a negative thing that I turned into a positive. Wrote this whole thing out, and he's like, read it, and then just wrote, yeah, I still think you should stop using it. And then I blocked him, and then I was like, from that point on, I don't really get into comments. On my Facebook, like, I share stuff on there, and like, I'll pick through and I'll see. I don't look at them all the time because there are some times when people make comments. I get a lot of people like kind of joking around on my stuff, but there are people who make dumb comments. So like, I don't read shit anymore. No. My Facebook to me is a dying thing. And Instagram I like because not a lot of people can talk on that, and it's more for like sharing stuff. But even on Instagram, I'll get dumb comments from people, and like, I don't know, being an emotional person and being a creative person, it bothers me. But then at the same time, it's like, I really can't read into the bullshit, because at the end of the day, if these comments weren't here and Instagram wasn't there and all of this wasn't somewhere where I can put all this, and I believe it'd be the same way with you, you would still be running a plant store and you'd still be doing all this stuff. You just wouldn't have
as much of
you wouldn't have as much. Well, I'm just saying, you wouldn't have as much negative aspects coming from people who wouldn't say the shit to your face.
Oh yeah.
And it's frustrating sometimes. And I think people who just sit around and comment on shit like that are at a 9 to 5, they're miserable, and they don't know what it's like to run a business. They don't know what it's like for somebody who's creatively and emotionally pushing themselves every day to get out of bed, and that this might be something that they do to keep them out of depression because their life's fucked up and like they just enjoy doing this. And then for somebody to just sit there and be like, hey, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like
Well-
I just to me it's like I just let it all go.
Yeah.
And like there's a lot of shit that I ignore that goes on in this town, and there's a lot of shit that like I see that goes on in this town, and like you know, and
I wish it would stop making the news though.
oh yeah, there's some, but like I love this town. I grew up in this town. I really wanted to do something for this town, and like where I'm at now is like there's a reason this town is this way. There's a reason nothing is the way that it is. At one point I thought I could be a person who would change those things, and I've learned that I can't. And I'm totally fine with leaving. And when I said that, like when you would be above it, I meant it in the sense of like when your whole project comes together from the things that you talked about here and you are in one place, that'll be all of your people supporting you, and it'll be too big of a thing for anyone to kind of tear it down. And it's like that's where I feel like I'll eventually be, and sadly it won't be in this town.
And that's a shame too, because you know the town needs like, you know, it needs. Do you want a ghost town? Like, is that what you want? Like,
Yeah.
I don't get. Like, I don't know. I don't know what they want. But it just needs things. It needs, you know. I always often say it's a food desert when I'm working here, because I'm like,
It's pizza shops. There's 60 pizza shops.
like, oh my gosh, I'm over it. Like, I can only eat so much. You know, I can only
when the
order
brewery
Chinese
opened,
so
and
much.
I actually went in there for a job interview. That's how long ago it was. And I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, pizza. And I was like, crushed.
Like, no more pizza. We need food. Like, I
Yeah.
just, you know, I love Pot's hot dog, but you can only eat so much Pot's hot dog.
Yeah, they take apple.
Yeah.
I want to have her on the podcast. Her father retired, and now she took over, and they do credit cards and Apple Pay.
I love that she's like coming to the news. I
You
love
had
it.
to. I mean,
Yes.
but like you didn't have to. You didn't
Yeah.
have to. That place completely
Yeah.
ran on cash for.
That was what's funny is I used them because my first introduction into what Nazareth was going to be like was the sign guy in town talking shit about my storefront because our window was ugly, which I don't know if you've seen our window. It's kind of cute.
I like your guys' setup.
I like my window. I'm proud of it. I think it's cute. I'm a pretty humble person, so for me to say it's cute, it's cute. But I happened to, someone screenshot and sent me some post he made about how, oh, they're not gonna do good. No one's gonna see them. Because I didn't use him, and I didn't use him. I supported Nazareth as much as I could with like going to Nazareth Hardware and, you know, getting a lot of things local. I didn't use him because I looked at his signs and they all looked the same, and they looked busy and big, and I need light in my window. I don't expect anybody to understand plants, but what I don't expect is another small business bashing a new one coming to the town. And I remember like going back and forth with him on social media for a while because I was pissed. I was like, wow, I don't even know this man. Like, I can't believe he's posting about me like this. And I was just livid. And he's the type of man that you can smack him down pretty easy, you know, like you can just whatever. But I was just like, how are you gonna talk shit about my storefront? So I pointed out, I goes, well, you need bright signs, you need big signs, you need to draw attention to you. So I dropped the Lehigh Valley Style link that they did an article on us. I dropped the WFMZ article. I dropped the Channel 69 News was in Curious Plantaholic filming while we were renovating it to film our renovations. I dropped that news, you know, on them. So I kept dropping all this stuff. And I was like, I think we're getting enough. You know, at that point, we already had 2,400 followers. I think we're being seen enough. We're fine. Oh, no. If you want to stay in business, you need a better window. And I'm like, I'm going to point out to you, I passed a hot dog stand to get to Nazareth, and I never stopped there. And they have one of your signs because I go to Pot's Hot Dog because they have good hot dogs. They have better hot dogs. So I'm passing a hot dog stand, and I'm going even further out of my way to go to Pot's. They don't have one of your fancy signs. They have good product.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, and I was trying to explain that to him. Do you know that same man shared and said things about our window like 3 or 4 times after that?
It's crazy to me that anyone would just like, that's what I'm saying is like, it's just such a weird place to me that someone would share something like that and be like, I don't like this at all. It's like, if you want to have that conversation with everybody, like, hey, you want to talk to your wife about it, but then to share it and
on social media. Under your business
I
name,
just feel like
too.
it's just a bad look for everybody. And then it starts an argument, and then you have people arguing, and then you have people talking in on it who are people who don't come to Nazareth and spend money. Like, that's why, like, I don't even get into half of the groups. First of all, group
psycho.
anything are terrible. And then when you get in there and you have people just trashing Nazareth, and I'm like, you don't come here.
Yeah.
You don't spend money here.
Yeah.
Or if they're like just Nazareth natives, and then it's people who are like, well, I went to Nazareth High School, but now I live in Bushkill. And I'm like, well, you don't live in Nazareth.
Yeah, you don't live in Nazareth. So, yeah, that's the other thing, too, those Facebook groups, the Nazareth Facebook groups, those are wild, aren't they?
I feel like all Facebook groups are wild.
They can be very
The
wild.
food ones are crazy. I
they're
see so
crazy.
much bashing of places in there, and there's like all kinds of shit all
Did
over
you
the place.
see the
And
new food group?
no, like I said, like I don't. My Facebook is set up that I don't get any notifications at all. I don't get like you. It takes a while. Like I had to Google it, but like you can go into the settings and turn it all off, and I have.
I need that.
So like if anybody says shit to me, I don't get notified when anyone ats me. I don't get notified. Messenger was a whole nother thing that added where now people can just contact me, and then it's almost like just somebody gave out my text. Yeah. Like, because you could, it's basically texting.
Oh, it
So
is.
Messenger has now turned into a text. So
Yeah.
like you can literally get a hold of anybody at any time, which I think is totally insane.
Insane. 2:00 in the morning. Why is my plant dying?
Yeah.
Why are you messaging me at 2:00 in the morning?
Yeah, it's so like when I turn my phone that way, like, and I was in groups like once or twice, and I was like, this is crazy that people are just bashing each other and shitting all over each other. And
Sad.
the food group stuff where they're like only putting up some specific things, or like they're like highlighting something, and I'm just like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
and then I was just like, I'm out. I prefer Instagram. I like how it's just you
too.
can post some art. I follow my people I want to follow. If I don't want to follow, I unfollow. Like, I've already had people ask why I unfollowed them, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't even know you could find out
Yeah.
that people unfollowed you. Like,
Why are you paying attention to that?
social media to me is it's just such a double-edged sword because I like using it. I make money off of it.
It's a necessary evil.
But then at the same time, it's like the amount of bullshit. Like, I despise Facebook.
Oh,
I
yeah.
despise it.
Yeah.
I just think it's just such a platform where you can even get into a conversation where I'm allowed to share something of yours and shit all over it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's Facebook. I notice it's more positive over. I always say over on Insta, it's way more positive.
Yeah.
But then, like you said,
But you can
it's
block
also-
people
it's-
immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately block, done,
So
done
much
with you.
easier. And
Done
if
with
they
you.
do message you, it goes to like some private inbox.
Yeah, and then like if you could look at it, and then if you don't, it gives you like you can read it, but then it's like, hey, it doesn't show that you read this unless you click on this right now, and then you can. But I also notice now, whereas because I reach out to people to do podcasts, where like I'll reach out to bigger people and it'll be like, hey, this is message 1 of 3 you're allowed to send.
Yeah.
And if they don't interact back with you, you're no longer allowed to keep bothering them. Yeah,
That's kind of neat.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know.
That's gonna happen to a lot of people because I don't reply to nothing. I can't keep up. That's the other, like I said, necessary evil is having the business accounts.
Well, yours has got to be crazy because it's retail and food, and you're out there and you put yourself out there and you have all this stuff going on and you have coverage from everywhere. So it's like, I mean, I don't even want an inkling to the bullshit you put up with.
Oh, it's one. I don't. If you look at my phone, everybody laughs at me because I'll have like 472 unread messages. Just now, if I flip my phone over, I'm sure there's 40 new messages, and it's all the same. And we have automated things that pop up, so it's less work for me. But they're like, what's your hours?
Yeah.
The time it took you to type what are your hours, you could have just saw.
I always judge it
Pin
by if they're like as
posts.
old as my mom.
Yeah.
And if they're as old as my mom, then I'll be like, all right, cool. Like, you don't get this.
Yeah, it's 9 to 5. You're good.
Like, I used to get so much road rage. My mom, when we were children, and still to this day, when she gets on the on-ramp, she stops. And then she looks.
No,
She
she
always
doesn't.
does. She's done it since we were kids. She's gotten better with it.
Okay.
But now when I'm behind somebody and like,
You're, like,
I'm
triggered.
like, motherfucker. And then I'm just like, it's your mom. And then I'm like, I picture my mom, and my mom isn't stopping there because she she thinks that you have to. She stopped there because her 3 children are in the car and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you look at it from that perspective, it really puts out a lot of fire.
Yeah.
So like, and that person probably is nothing like my mom, and they're probably just, an idiot, and they deserve every honk. But it really levels me out sometimes to be like, all right, cool. Cause like my parents will call me and be like, hey, we can't get back into Netflix. And then I'll be like, all right. And then like sometimes I'll have to be like, okay, well, you have to wait till tomorrow. When I come over, I'll log you guys back in. There is passwords that I put underneath here, but it's not their world. So like if somebody in that instance is asking, cool. But most of the time it's like, man, like, what are you doing?
No,
what planet are you on holding a phone that can answer all these problems?
All the questions. By the way, you don't even have to type it out. You can, okay, Siri, what time does Plants and Coffee open? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I do feel like social media has made humans just lazy, and myself included. I'm not saying that everybody's awful and I'm great. Like, I'll just, I'm the same way. I'm guilty as charged too. I have a lot of vendors that I work with, and I'll just shoot them a quick message on like social media. Hey, I had this crazy idea. Can you do this? And I'll dump like loads of work on them just real quick on Facebook. And so I'm guilty of it too. I have their email and their contact and all that. It's just easy and convenient. And I think the more easy and convenient we're making it for everybody, I think it's making it harder on small businesses.
Yeah. It's not easy, but again, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
No.
As much, and I feel like as much as I'm like, man, I don't like this, I don't like that, there's 10 things that I do like about it, but like it's very frustrating at times, especially when you have people doing stuff like that and like kind of like, I don't know, like I ran into problems with Austin James, and it's like, when I had all my issues with him, it's like I had 2 roads I could have went down. I could have like really got into some serious shit with him, or I could have blocked him on everything and he doesn't exist in my life, and that's where he's at. So it's like, yeah, but it's like, sometimes it's like you have an option. Do you want to put up with all the bullshit and go down a road and just turn into drama and nonsense? Or do you want to go this way and stay in your lane? And do you want to just kind of keep creating and do all the things that you want to do with your company? And I feel like I choose to stay in that more than I choose to stay over here. And it's annoying and I don't like it at times, but also like, it's always just onward and upward. Cool. Keep growing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing things.
I find those types motivate me more. Like they push me more. So like in the beginning, like all these little things that bother me. It's like, oh, customers, you see this shop, they're trying to be like you. They look like you. They have all the products you have. Yeah. And at first I would listen to it all. And
I fed into so much that when I had the apparel company, and like when I was starting, people were like, oh, this guy's ripping you off and you're the cool version of that. And there's only 2 of you. And then like you feed into that shit's wild too. But I feel like you grow and you get stronger and you like, you become, I don't know, like working with Sal over at Giacomo's, it's like I'm learning so much on like how to carry yourself for somebody who's been in business for 30 years. Like I watched an interaction with him today and it was just such a pro move. And he got off the phone. He's like, when you open, don't forget about this stuff because this is when people are going to try and take advantage of you. And I'm like, man, this guy's like been through the gauntlet. And he puts up with so much nonsense with people making comments and stuff. And it bothers him. Like, I'm like it bothers you or it bothers me when somebody's like, I've already had people be like, oh, this podcast sucks. And it's like, all right, cool. Why don't you build a studio and why don't you learn how to interview someone? Because it's easy to think that this is, like we go back and forth normally, but when you are sitting down with a stranger,
that's hard.
It's like being on a date. It's so uncomfortable.
Like, so awkward.
Yeah. And then it's like, and then I'm supposed to be in control because this is all my stuff. And it's like, it's not easy. So when people kind of tear it down, it's not the easiest thing to swallow. It's not fun. But like I said, like the positive stuff outweighs it.
Why do they have to?
I don't know.
Why does there have to be, I joke around and it comes back to the Kardashian. I call it the Kardashian effect. It's like they got popular. So if you ever see anything posted about them and you go to the comment section, it's wild.
Yeah.
Nasty. And parts of me sometimes just feels the need to defend these strange people because I'm like, I don't know them. I don't know what their life is like. Why are you saying all these awful things about these people? But it's because they're popular and they're successful.
Yeah.
And when people see that popular, it's like you always have those people, oh, this podcast is popular. It must be shit. well, what? Why would you comment this is a shitty podcast when you see that there's 4,000 people that are,
Yeah.
watching this, and you're it's just bizarre to me. You always have those people, but I always want, like, what is your purpose? Why are you trying to tear other people down? It's so bizarre to me. My whole goal is to lift people up and, make everybody feel good around me, not bring everybody down. So it's always so weird to me. And like, I'm a person behind this business. Like, I'm
What's
a
it like-
mom, I'm a
What's it like for you to serve food now and then see that? Because I know what it's like what I was talking about with the burgers. So for you to because I know that like you want to do that. So when you put that into your food and you give someone a cup of coffee and you see them enjoy it, or the people who are there with the computers, what's that like for you?
It's awesome, especially when I get the positive feedback. We have a lot of people who don't believe that I've just been doing this for 4 or 5 months. They're like, no way. And I'm like, but I have a good supportive team that helps me, with Yuri, teaching me everything. But it feels really good when you're sitting there and the tables are full and people are enjoying it, and you see the cameras coming out and they're taking pictures of their food.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right, that means it's good, especially if they bid it first. That's like the ultimate compliment to me. If you take a bite of your food first and then you're like, yeah, I'm going to post this shit. Because now I know it's not only a pretty, plate for you to post, like you actually enjoyed it and you liked it and you want to tell others to eat it. So like that to me is like the ultimate high, I guess.
If I'm hungry and when I do want to take pictures of food, because now sometimes, because I used to just do it all the time.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, what are you doing, dude? Yeah. Like, this is now like a thing you do when you're out, and it doesn't matter if there's other people there. Where now it's like, I'll take like a picture and be like, I don't fucking care. I want to eat it. I just want to eat it. Like, if the food's like really fucking,
right.
Like if I really want to eat it and I'm hungry, like I don't care. Like I remember taking a picture of like a burger or something. Gina's like, did you get it? And I was like, I don't care. We're eating. We're eating.
Yep. That's the best compliment, honestly.
Yeah. I never thought of that. So you probably see a lot of that with
Yeah.
people taking pictures of the plants and the
food,
the coffee and everything
yeah.
while you're in there.
Yeah.
What are your plans for fall, and like where do you kind of see we talked about in grand schemes of what you want to do with building a Rob Dyrdek's fantasy factory for plants.
Right.
But like what are your plans for fall, and like what do you got coming up, just to kind of wrap the show up?
A bunch of really awesome stuff. Well, we're launching our fall menu was supposed to release this week, but with it being in the 90s, we reeled it in a little bit because
yeah, but that's good to have more time.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna get rid of all the lemonades, launch a lot of comfort foods for fall. So like moon milks instead of lemonades. For the bagels, I'm working on a really good turkey one with some side of gravy that you're gonna dip it in. That's gonna be dope. We already have the cream cheeses made for it. We're just gonna test that one out.
It's fun to be ahead on stuff like that.
Yeah.
You got like your menu and like very similar to when I get apparel done.
Yes, yeah. We're gonna collab with the other fish. That bagel, I'm so pumped for. We've been obviously we've been talking about it since we opened, about collabing together, but I was just with them on Monday and we got it set. It's really,
hell yeah.
It's probably one of the best ones we made too. Of course, because it's their influence and I love them. But so we have that launch. We're gonna start doing more events. I'm finally getting the groove of it and don't want to dump the store anymore. And I'm finally ready to do events. So we're gonna do more events. My cousin is an amazing singer, Nia. So we're going to have tea time with Nia where she's just singing, and we're going to have like some tea and just soft lights at night. Some open mic nights we're kind of
so you're going to start doing some stuff in the evening.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, not too much because like we have our neighbors now and their hours are evening hours. So obviously nothing to step on their toes or anything, but just, a few things here and there that I can handle.
I feel like if you don't do it all the time as well, it's going to be easier for you, and then you can just do fun stuff.
Yeah, just like little fun things I always wanted to do.
I hope you just end up opening a nightclub.
Right. Hey, listen, DJ Brad Scott comes in all the time, and we joked about papering the windows and having some for good parties.
Just knowing how you are, though, you're like, okay, I need to come back on. We're doing
that's actually,
we're doing a nightclub.
I used to want to, do you know Boca Joe's? Remember Boca Joe's?
Yeah.
I want someone to buy that and deck it out and turn it into a burlesque club.
Yeah, well, I feel like the burlesque club would be huge around here.
Right? Like a gentleman's, like you got to wear a blazer to come in.
Lafayette Bar's coming on. I think I haven't booked, but I love Lafayette, the bar. It's got such a seedy vibe to it, and it's still like dark, and they do like drag bingo and stuff like that. I feel like that would be the perfect spot to get burlesque going in the area.
Yes.
But a burlesque club around here, that would be so much fun.
That was always something. We went to a crazy
Get an old
horse.
fashioned.
Yes.
Manhattans.
That's
yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah.
And like the little waitress.
I love going to
like,
stuff like that. We went out to a bunch of stuff like that in Vegas. That's why I love to travel. Yeah.
My wedding night, we went to Crazy Horse and we saw Dita Von Teese do her thing at the burlesque show there. And
We
it
should
was
team
the
up and put a
craziest.
burlesque show on somewhere.
Do it. Oh my gosh.
Worst case, we could do it
I know
down
a few
here.
burlesque dancers.
Worst case, we could do it down here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I took a few classes. I can make my tassel spin.
Oh my god! We could easily put the stage up over here like we did for the comedy club.
Yeah.
Would we do seating or would we do standing?
Ooh, well, I think you need to do seating.
Seating, I can fit anywhere between 40. I think 40 chairs I can get here.
I know. I'm telling you, I know.
I can put a bartender in the back there by the curtain, and then that's the lounge area over there.
I'm going to get you burlesque on your show.
I'll book burlesque dancers or to do a podcast, and then we can start doing it.
There's a
What we could do too is run multiple shows.
yes.
Keep it, see how many tickets we can move.
Right. There was a traveling group. I think they split up and they started a second group that we used to follow and see with Mika Romantic and Ruby Von Vanity. Really great, talented group of women.
I guarantee Lafayette would probably let us do it too, and then we would just have a venue, a stage.
And the DJ that does the this is full circle. It's hitting me now. We're doing this.
Yeah.
'Cause the DJ.
I didn't throw it out there because I thought you would say no.
It's happening because he's friends with Mika Romantic. Because I went to a few of his parties that you need like a password to get into.
Yeah, I want to do something like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's either here or Lafayette late night.
Yes. All right. We're gonna. And the owner of Lafayette lives by Plants and Coffee.
Yeah, I'm slowly beginning. I hit them up a while ago, and I've learned over the years with guests that sometimes it's just there's people are fucking busy. I look at everyone where I just pretend everyone's as busy as I am. So if somebody doesn't get back to me right away, I don't take it personally at all. So like we've just been back and forth, and I've missed them out at a bar. We try to thing, but like it's all coming together, and I booked them to come on. But like their venue is like one of the fucking dopest venues, in my opinion, in the Valley. Like that old dark, like that's just it hits my feels. And then they have the stage there, and then they get legit blues musicians or jazz musicians come in there.
Yeah, that's they're always hosting crazy events down there, and even the hotel itself,
it's still open. I went in.
open.
My buddy took me into the lobby, and there was a guy in there, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" He's like, "It's for the hotel."
Yeah.
And I was just like, "What?"
Yeah.
But I love that whole. It's got like that John Wick vibe where it's like the hotel. No, I'm always down to do anything you want to do. I want to wrap it up just because we won't stop talking. And your husband asked how long we would be. We did an hour and 20.
I didn't get yelled at yet.
No, we're still good on time. It's just 8:00. So, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for being a sponsor. I know I want to do stuff afterwards for this. I appreciate everything you do, not only for the area, but what you have done in Nazareth. And I'm really excited to see what you do with everything, because I do believe that you will tie this all together and you will have this exact spot. And I recognize it because I'm also fighting to get somewhere that's in my head, and I don't know how to get it out. And you're always welcome to come on. We definitely need to do a group one with a couple other people. I know Modern Crumb.
Yes.
She talked about coming on and having some drinks and stuff, so I'll set that up and we can get somebody else on. I want to give you a minute to plug the store and all the different locations and your social media and everything that you're doing. And I know you got 5 of them, so I want to give you a chance to kind of put yourself up.
Oh, I'm not good at that. So, well, you can follow us on Facebook after we just bashed it for hours.
I'm like, man, the last hour or the last 20 minutes on this.
If you want to follow us on Facebook, The Curious Plantaholic, Nazareth, or New Jersey, or Plants and Coffee. It is Plants and Coffee Easton. Some social media guru got Plants and Coffee. So Plants and Coffee Easton is the handle on Instagram and Facebook. We are more active on Instagram. We just are. It's just easier, so I would follow us there. But definitely come to Plants and Coffee or the Nazareth shop, because I have a feeling this is all local stuff and nobody wants to. Or go to Clinton. Clinton's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a great town. Get some good breakfast. Stay all day. Have dinner. There's so many good places to go.
Do you have a website that has everything on it?
Oh, duh, we do. See, I told you I'm not good at this.
Well, I'm pretty sure like your husband built the website, didn't he?
And it's like high tech.
Yeah.
It's
He's always
wild,
buried in a
too.
computer. And then when I met him, I was like, oh, you're behind all of it.
All of yeah. Matter of fact, we were interviewed by the Clover system because nobody's been able to run a live inventory of more than one shop on their one website like we've been able to do. And when I say we, I mean he's been able to do because I'm not tech savvy at all. I wasn't even going to plug the website. If that gives you a point about where I'm at with my technology. But yeah, they came out and took pictures, and he's going to start like helping them teach people how to do it.
Hell yeah.
It's crazy. He's a nerd and I love it. But yeah, the website, CuriousPlantaholic.com.
And that'll have all the information for all the stores and
For all
everything
the
on
stores, yeah. We did do a Plants and Coffee website, but it is literally just this is what we are.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever get to like the whole order online, Uber Eats. I mean, maybe we will. Maybe it'll slow down and we'll be able to explore that road. But right now, it's not really it's not on my list of to-dos, I will say.
Cool. I figured that he had done the website, so that's why I asked. First time listener, first time watcher, neveragainstudio.com. That takes you to the website. It has YouTube on there, Spotify on there, the apparel's on there. You can order. I'll have the new shirts up by the time this drops. So the apparel is going to be on there from now on instead of going over to the drop shipping. It's still going to be through Kyle from Dynamite. He sponsors the show, and then he builds the back end of everything. So I have connected both places, so I figured why, like I was sending people somewhere else when there was already a shitload of people going to the website.
Yeah.
Like I'm terrible with that shit too. And then my web guy's like, I fucking told you to do this 5 years ago. So I was like, hey man, I'm listening. so everything is all in one place. If you go to YouTube, subscribe to it. Spotify, there's all kinds of stuff coming out through Spotify, and I'm trying to learn more there, and it's becoming its own platform and stuff like that. I know Zach's running his stuff off of there. So check out everything. Check out Plants and Coffee. Check out the Curious Plantaholics, Nazareth, New Jersey, Easton. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Never Again Radio. Get into it, brother.